Hello again. Well, as promised, I decided to put together a video of some tips and tricks and things that I found that actually helped with my transition. Some of this might include pre-op and that time that I had before my surgery, about 5 weeks, to take advantage of practicing certain things that I could. It would never match reality. I understand that. I can't simulate what the pain and discomfort might have been pre-op, but I at least wanted to go through some of the motions of wearing a sling or trying to brush my teeth, putting toothpaste on one-handed, putting my socks on one-handed. And so I used that time, and then some of those helped prepare me for the post-op transition, because what I was kind of worried about was frustration level. When you expect your body to do certain things because that's what it's done for a long time, and then you can't do that all of a sudden, at least for me, I didn't know how frustrated I would get, and I just didn't want to add to any of the difficulty and the challenges that I was already going to have post-op, or at least I had anticipated from what everyone had told me, all the videos I watched. So this is a video of some things that I found helped me. Again, your mileage may vary depending on your situation, who you have to help you. Some of these things along the way, my wife might have helped me. A lot of these I tried to do on my own so I could become self-sufficient within reason, right? But I also wanted to make sure that these were things that I could share with you, that if any of these are, hey, I didn't think about that, or, well, I do it this way and it already works for me, that's great. I would have been remiss if I didn't share any of these with you, because everybody is different in their situations and what they're having to deal with. And the hope is that maybe, something here along the way, makes the light go off in your head that, ooh, hadn't thought about that, or maybe it's kind of a modified version of what you're doing. And if you see any of these and you have kind of a better mousetrap that has helped you, feel free to share it. Again, I'm still only 2 months into my journey here. I still have months to go. And so I'm looking for any ways, not so much to cut corners, but to maybe make those corners a little smoother so that they won't kind of give me a paper cut, if you will. Again, just trying to find ways to do things better, right? Better defined however you want. For me, it's being more efficient, maybe being less painful, or less discomfort. How you're going through your day-to-day routine and tasks. So, without further ado, let's go. Okay, so first off, and these are in no particular order, just the way I kind of decided to, move across some of these tips and tricks, and basically some of the the arrangements that I set up for my post-op. But basically, what I have here is this is my sling, still my security blanket, but you can see it's not on me. This was my abduction pillow that I wore for a number of weeks, and that really felt good to keep my arm out and away from my body. Have the little exercise ball that I normally keep it separate now, and I'll show you kind of what I do with the ball separate from the abduction pillow. These are a couple of pillows that I'll kind of walk through. This one right here is pretty much self-explanatory. It was just one for maybe resting my head on when I was in the recliner, or propping under my arm. This pillow here is the one that I used for my recliner here, which you can see. And it's an old trusty recliner, but you can see there's not really much support. And so I wanted to make sure that my my back of my knees were supported while I was sleeping, right? So put that pillow in between there, and it was a godsend. It actually worked wonderfully well. And I was very comfortable in this chair because for those that didn't watch any of the earlier videos, this is basically where I lived for the first through three and a half weeks post-op, right? And so this was my place where I slept. This is the blanket, Afghan, that I had mentioned in a previous video. It is a rectangular shape, and it's kind of balled up now. But what I wanted to bring your attention to is I had mentioned that my wife came up with the great idea of putting a blue painter's tape X. There was enough ambient light here in this room at night when I was sleeping that I was able to see okay, but the very, very first night, I got up to go to the bathroom, and then when I came back, I couldn't tell, you're groggy, it's the middle of the night, and I couldn't tell what side was up on the rectangular shape, right? So the long side, and I found out that the next day when I woke up, I had the blanket 90 degrees opposite of where I wanted it to be. It wasn't running the length of my body, so my little tootsies, my feet were sticking out the next day. Luckily, it was, I was wearing socks. It was warm enough, but it made me think, I want to make sure that if I have to get up in the middle of the night or I have to put this on, I can quickly find, by looking for the blue X, that goes up under my chin, and I had the proper orientation for making sure that this blanket is lengthwise. Now, if you have a square blanket or another shape, maybe this isn't as beneficial to you, but for rectangular blankets, this worked out very well. As I mentioned, because I am left-handed and my surgery was on my right shoulder, I decided to take this recliner to use, and the bookcase here had all the accoutrements that I'd mentioned, so the remotes, for the TV, I still use this cup with the straw in it, sippy cup, just because I didn't know with just one-handed post-op, didn't want to spill anything any more than I had to, so it's got a cap on the top, and that's worked as well for me. Bear with me a second as I kind of put the ottoman down here. And so, because I mentioned some ambient light in here, there's a night light that's in the hallway that's fairly bright, and it was right in line with my eyes as I was reclined back. This was just an eye shade that you get when you take a flight, right? I've been giving those in my business travels before. But this was flimsy, and it didn't really shape itself. So there was kind of light leakage coming in. It wasn't horrible. It was better than not having it. But my wife found this one at I think Target for $5-6, and it's cushioned, and it was so much better at blocking the light. So I used this for the first couple of days, and used this for all the rest of the days. So this one was very, very helpful to me. So just a regular, again, eye shade, but padded. And this was a pulse oximeter. Is that in focus? There we go. And so that was just something we had around the house that I wanted to just check my pulse, but also the oxygen levels in my blood, especially in my surgical arm, because I noticed when I was showering, I had mentioned this in a previous video, that my hand was turning purplish, reddish, bluish, and some of that had to do with the fact that it was hanging down at my side. It made me think, am I getting enough blood flow? So I wanted to double check the oxygen level. And then that's my handy shoehorn, because I used shoelaces that I pre-tied and kept them tied. And then all I had to do was worry about using the shoehorn to slide the shoes on. So this is where I spent, like I mentioned, the majority of my life for the first 3.5 weeks post-op. And this all worked out well. I have since graduated into another bedroom with the bed, and I actually have a different video for showing how I fashioned those sleeping arrangements. And as of 2 months today, I'm still in that same bed using those same sleeping arrangements. And from the recliner, this is where I've kind of moved into. So first 3.5 weeks in the recliner, and now through almost 2 months, I have been sleeping in this bedroom. And you can see I've just fashioned up a couple of pillows on either side to kind of keep me from rolling left or right. Regular bed pillow. And then I guess the one thing I just wanted to show is something I did purchase. Just got this off of Amazon. This is just a wedge pillow. And so basically it's 2 feet by 2 feet by kind of a 1 foot incline. And that is just kind of keeping me up and keeping the pressure off my shoulder. So far it's worked well. I've tried sleeping without the without the wedge pillow and being in an inclined position, and I woke up in the middle of the night with some discomfort. So I went back to sleeping on this. Maybe the next couple of days, I will try to see if I can get down to just laying flat and using just a standard pillow. But at this point, this is kind of where I've been spending my sleeping hours until further notice. Okay, so now we're in the bathroom, which this is our second bathroom. It's where our boys, when they were living here, were using. But because I am sleeping in a separate bedroom from my wife, she generally goes to bed earlier than I do. I did not want to wake her stumbling around in our bathroom and making noises because she had to get up early and drive to work the next day. So I basically moved into here. I'm still using this bathroom for kind of nighttime routine, and just a couple of things. I'll kind of go over a couple of these here, but some things that I had to purchase, but also things we already had. So just kind of the various, different lotions. What I found is in my arm that had the sling on it, that my forearm was getting very dry. And so I was making sure that I don't normally use lotions, but I decided to make sure that I had some lotions here. One of what we did buy is because I had to do by hand at night was washing my face. No washcloth, just kind of spraying this liquid soap into my hand and then washing my face with that. Definitely used everything liquid where we could. And this is kind of cleansing soap in a liquid form. Normally I use bar soap, but because I wasn't sure about my gripping with my hand and doing everything one-handed would just make it very cumbersome. So just squirt bottles were recommended, and they came in handy. Body powder or baby powder. I would sometimes get let's see if I can get this right, but this is where the strap would come down for the sling, and I was getting kind of a rash there. So putting body powder or baby powder onto that area definitely came in handy and took away the irritation. Generally, I use gel deodorant, but again, because I couldn't apply it one-handed, that I moved to spray deodorant, and I was able to spray with my left hand on both arms, and it worked out quite well. So now that I have more mobility, I've moved back to my gel. And then let's see, I have an electric razor here, which I had to buy because I'm a razor, and shaving cream, cheap shaving cream, but shaving cream and razor for shaving my face. And so I bought this off of Amazon, $60, which, I mean, that's a lot of money, especially now. I'm not even using it because I have enough mobility and strength and manual dexterity where I can now shave. Because I normally put on shaving cream with my right hand, and I couldn't do that because it was stuck in a sling forever. But now I have graduated to going back to a normal routine. And then the scrub brush is basically for washing my back. And this has really helped, right? So I have two sides on here. This one is much more coarse, and I tried that one. That hurt my back. It's almost like using sandpaper. But this one was the finer end bristles, and that works great. And so quality purchase with that, I can't remember, but $10, I think, off of Amazon. And then I have, my calendaring for my medication. My wife had one of these around, and so I was able to use this as well. That works out great. And then handy dandy ibuprofen and acetaminophen, which I'm really not using anymore. I kind of spot use these two. Mostly the ibuprofen, just because of the if I feel like I have inflammation, that will help with that, whereas the acetaminophen doesn't. And then this was something that another YouTuber had mentioned, bio oil. Excuse me while I pull this out. And so this is for helping the incision sites with the healing process, and they've actually healed up fairly nicely. So I don't know if it's because of my normal body healing or the bio oil, but I did ask the surgeon's physician assistant, and she said, "Oh yeah, bio oil, I've heard of that. That works great. Coconut oil or cocoa oil, I think is what my wife mentioned. That works well as maybe any other kind of lotions or ointments that have vitamin E." Now I use an electric toothbrush. I've been using one for about 15 years. I use both hands to brush my teeth, so I had to relearn how to just brush my teeth left-handed. And I struggled and got through it. The other thing is just chapstick. I kind of store it up vertically. And what I did was, now I'm going to switch hands here holding the phone. I store it up like that just to make it easy to grab. And then I would pull the cap off one-handed, turn that upside down, and then I would apply the chapstick, and then I would just kind of put it back in, and I could do all of that one-handed, stored like that. And you're probably thinking, oh yeah, it's a minor thing. And it is. Again, it's about decreasing the level of frustration I might have. Now, if you have pets or young children or others sharing the bathroom, sure, that can get knocked over. But it was easier for me to grab if I put it down like this and it ends up rolling, right? So didn't want to have to worry about that going into, I don't know, filled sink or something like that. So for me, that just worked out well. And then with toothpaste, let me grab this here, move that out of the way. Again, I know if you're using just a handheld manual toothbrush, not electric, this might or might not work. But for me, what I do is I put my hip up against the toothpaste, press the toothpaste tube, and then I can push it this way and it won't go anywhere. And then I could just one-handed take that off, and then I could put the toothpaste on the toothbrush. And when I'm done, again, push it against my hip. And then I was done. Again, just the frustration level that you can probably have with some of these day-to-day tasks. Some of them could add up. So that is basically some of the things I've had to buy, some of the things I've used, and so forth, with respect to kind of personal hygiene. Almost forgot to mention that I had a shower sling as well. So I didn't want to get the permanent sling wet, which the doctors recommend don't do it. So this is just kind of a very inexpensive shower sling that I bought from Amazon. I think it might have been, again, $8, which I know, adding up, all of these different items that maybe you don't have laying around, it can add up. But again, I wore this religiously for the first month and a half, until I figured out that I was stable enough and had my routine down for my shower where I didn't need to be in this sling anymore. But it definitely came in handy to make sure that my arm was secure during those first couple of weeks when you're learning how to shower, whether it's getting help from somebody or it is on your own. So I had forgotten about this and then went and grabbed it, and I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned it.